Do you work from photo, or is you try to get sitting from real people?
I do work from photo, but even just a photograph takes quite a long time. So I have sittings with friends and like acquaintances, and then I take like images from like images from like news in fashion advertising. So then I pick one for like Kate Moss, for example, and then I like work with the model until the pose is exactly the same. And also always like switch the genders. So like I have men posing like women and women posing like men, and or sometimes the trans women.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. Again, the last series that you've done. It's really interesting, and I was really attracted by the whole process, and especially like why did you decide to do that? It was just like a challenge that you wanted to.
Yeah, well, that was like I've been doing it for quite a while, and I mean it's all about sort of challenging gender norms, trying to sort of transgress gender, and also sort of maybe just posing the question like what happens when you see a male body posing in these otherwise ways that we otherwise only used to see women pose up in this sort of pose as the other, as the sort of the object of male gaze desire. And like also I've been like looking, like when you look through these like nudes, and like there's male nudes in fashion advertising too, but when you look through this archive of like all the nudes in fashion advertising, you see certain like patterns. Like usually the women are passive somehow, whereas the men are active somehow. So the men, they can have the crouch forward and the arm elbows up, which is like a very active and seductive pose, whereas women is always like a hand here or arm here or something a little bit to the
like
side.
Hiding.
Something even though they're completely naked is always something that indicates some kind of shyness, and this is the whole like passive part that we need to put on women. So it's like this gender stereotypes are there even when it's just a naked body. Like you don't even need the makeup and the heels and stuff. I kind of like wanted to see what happens when you subvert that. Like now people might react to it, but if we ever come to some kind of like utopian world where there are no gender cliches anymore, maybe no one will react to it. But like the way it is now, I think people do look at it and I think it's like something odd, and that's kind of is that sort of conversation that I want to like ignite in people, like what happens in them when they see men posing